Hey, Insiders. We've got a very special guest joining us here today who's recently graduated from our flagship program, LMA, Life Mastery Achievers. And basically, she's just going to come on here and share how they honestly find the whole process and the experience and everything else in between. And I guess before we dive in, first question is if you wouldn't mind just telling us your name, where you're from, and what it is that you currently do at the moment.
My name is Angela Touchstone, and I live in the Los Angeles area, specifically Canoga Park. That's in the valley,
Hmm.
San Fernando Valley. And I am an IT manager for the 911 dispatch center.
Wow, nice. And Angela, what was any of the problems or challenges that you were currently facing in your life prior to joining LMA program?
Some of the challenges were just feeling stuck,
Mm,
feeling like I wasn't making any progress,
mm,
feeling, yeah, just not moving forward and spending too much time in the past.
mm. And how was that affecting your life?
Well, it's not affect it's affected my life I would say in a negative aspect. It's just when you are stuck, you can't move. You feel like you're drowning.
Mm,
So that's how it was affecting me. My health was starting to suffer,
mm.
feeling somewhat depressed, and so I knew needed to make a change, and so I went searching, and LMA found me, and I found LMA.
Wow. And before we dive in, like how long would you say you were in that consciously in that stage of feeling stuck and not moving forward or not progressing? How long had that been happening for?
For at least 5 years, at least that much, I believe.
Mm, quite a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And prior to signing up to the LMA program, did you have any main concerns or, blockages that was holding you back or hesitations from joining the program? And if so, like, how did you set them fears aside and move forward?
Well, finances is always a factor for most people, feeling like, can I really afford this right now? But I do believe in investing in myself. And so that's how I had to reconcile that. This is going to improve my life, and you can't put a price on self improvement and personal development.
Yeah. You mentioned there that LMA found you and you found LMA. How did that come about? In short, how did that unfolding happen for you?
Well, I don't remember exactly, but sometimes when you're doing Google searches on what can I do to gain more confidence, how can I feel better about myself, these things just somehow find you. So I could have been doing one of those searches. I didn't know about LMA, so I didn't do an LMA search. But like I said, I saw it come up on an online search, and I clicked on, and I'm glad I did.
Wow. And what would you say, Angela, surprised you the most, or what brought you the most happiness throughout going through LMA course?
Well, happiness in that it's not like misery loves company, but just to understand that there's others out there that
Mm,
are experiencing some of the very same things. And so to find a community
mm,
that can be supportive
mm.
of you in your journey, and understanding where you've come from, understanding that they have the same limiting beliefs that you have. And maybe now we can work on all of this together.
Yeah. And how important was that community that you spoke about there? How important was that on your journey through LMA?
Well, it's so important because before, you feel like you're alone.
Mm,
And so now I feel like I have a family of people that are really invested in helping me to improve and become the best version of myself.
wow. Thanks for sharing. Um, what would you say has been the biggest impact on your life, or what's changed the most dramatically since before LMA until now?
I'm coming to a deeper understanding of myself and how all of who I am right now was guided by um, all of my environment, how I was raised, where I went to school, the people I had around me. And so you develop these, what you call belief systems about yourself, about your community, and you think that's the way it is, that it can't change. But
Mm.
now, since learning about LMA, I know that I can change. I have learned, and I'm still working through this, that I am enough. And that's a daily conversation I have to have with myself.
Yeah,
Um, but all of it is getting better.
beautiful. And how would you summarize Tim's facilitation or Tim's way of teaching?
I love his way of teaching because he constantly says, "Are you awake? Are you awake?" And I'm like, "Okay, Tim, I got it. I'm awake now. I'm awake." So I love his energy. I love his down to earth presentation. And so he's relatable. And I don't know what he had to go through to get to that point, but you can see part of yourself when he's talking. You say, okay, I understand that. Yes. And so I can say that he's one of the best teachers that I've ever come across.
Wow. And so now, after going through this content and this material and showing up to those classes and being awake and concentrating and taking all the notes and applying them into your life, how differently does your life look now? Like, what's the future looking like for Angela?
It looks hopeful.
Mm.
It looks like I can get unstuck. It looks like I have tools now to help me. And so the future looks bright instead of this Groundhog Day where yesterday is the same as today or tomorrow. It's now full of possibility. And the work isn't done. I still have a lot of work to do, but I'm on the right track now. Tim says that you're lost in the right direction.
Yeah,
And so so that's what I feel.
yeah,
I'm just heading in the right direction now.
yeah. What would you say to someone that thinks like, okay, yeah, this is a 6 week course, and after the 6 weeks, I'm gonna be like fixed or everything's gonna be okay. What have you learned or realized that still has to come after this journey of LMA?
That 6 weeks is not enough to change a lifetime of behavior and thinking. And so it might take a lot longer and might take the rest of your life. But if you have a community, then that's supportive. So it's important to review the training again,
Mm.
get involved in some of the other trainings that are offered, try to get to, and by the way, I've been able to be one of those that's going to WCA. So invest in yourself. Continuous
Mm.
investment in yourself is important.
Beautiful. And last but not least, finishing up here, Angela, and thank you so much for your time and coming on and sharing this with us. But what advice would you give to someone who is wanting to join LMA, but they haven't made that decision and they haven't stepped forward in faith right now? What advice would you bestow on to someone who's maybe sitting on the fence?
My advice would be to get off the fence. It's time to do something. Otherwise, you're going to get the same today that you had yesterday, and it will be the same tomorrow. So you have to make a decision. You have to get off the fence and just do it, as Nike says.